Martyrdom was something that I wasn't aware of in so many aspects of my life. Just being willing to push myself further and go that extra mile and ignore my own needs, ignore my own family sometimes, so that I could meet what was asked of me, or basically impress someone else, or, just give the above and beyond that I became known for. And all of those things turned into my own kind of martyrdom. And yet I was pretty resentful in little things that were not necessarily related to that. It was, I'm happy to give to you, but then in my own family, this least thing could have triggered me to be upset that I wasn't being appreciated. Because I had gone to the point of so much sacrifice in so many aspects that, maybe the little things that I was doing at home or whatever were not acknowledged, and that would be where I would blow up. It's not something I'm proud of, but that's the truth about my experience, and I think that's the truth about a lot of our experiences. So to begin with martyrdom, I felt was a good starting point, because I think, without realizing it, as generous givers, we will tend to go too far before we realize that we maybe need to check ourselves and see what's at play in terms of our own self-sacrifice, and that being its own imbalance for ourselves. But we'll do it in the name of, I must give to whatever organization or group of people you feel you are supposed to serve. That's a great focus. There's nothing wrong with that. But in my own life, I saw it with my own father. He was very much a philanthropist, and he was a volunteer in a variety of organizations, and he was so capable and so generous with his time. But that pressure, along with, the long hours that he would put in at work and so forth, that became this short fuse that when some little thing happened at home, he would blow up. And in a way, that's kind of what I continued as I was coming into my adulthood, becoming a wife and having children. So there's always going to be some place where martyrdom gets to a point of saturation. And maybe the sense of resentment that we feel of not being appreciated for what we are doing is a great opportunity. If we can pivot toward the idea that my resentment is there, I'm not going to judge the fact that I'm resentful, then you can actually ask yourself, well, what is this provoking in me? Firstly, feelings of resentment are asking you and pushing you to stop ignoring your needs or your truth. You're feeling this resentment because you know something is not cohesive. Secondly, it's pushing you to stop judging that. Stop judging your resentment, because it's just a nudge or a cry for balance. And while you are so committed to giving and to serving and to being a contribution in this world, to your family, to your friends, to your church, to the community, the fact is, balance is still required, and nobody can do that for you better than you can. You have to be willing to not only serve others, but equally find ways to serve yourself. And in relation to that, it's pushing us to treat your own existence as sacred and worthy. Some of this whole martyrdom thing, this pushing yourself and continuously sacrificing and doing whatever you need to do, is a way of working harder and harder to prove something. And so it's coming back to us having to say, it's provoking me to finally engage in my own self-care and my own self-validation. When I'm looking at who we are as mind, heart, spirit beings, self-care and self-validation is saying, I respect that what I've been given, this body, this life, I have to care for it. I have to make sure that I am paying attention to its needs, okay? We push with fueling up on things that will give us more of a boost, while maybe in the meantime we're just going beyond our limits. Because that's not okay, right? To declare that we have limits. Nobody wants to hear that. But self-care is that first and foremost honoring the higher self, which is the essence of who we are. And so therefore, if we're feeling this resentment of, but don't you see how much I'm doing? And, won't you finally acknowledge that I'm on the right track and I'm a valuable part of this whatever community or whatever, relationship you're feeling you're trying to serve? The bottom line is, we're going to have to do that for ourselves. We have to return to saying, well, and this is what I do, between me and God, I say, I know that you know what I'm trying to accomplish, and I feel led by you to be moving forward in this way. But I also know that you need me to equally give to myself so that I can truly care for the wholeness of me, because I have to see this as a long-term relationship, a long-term thing, me and this body and in this life. So when it comes to martyrdom, when it comes to this resentment of feeling like nobody appreciates our willing sacrifices, especially from those people who act like even when we're finally at that limit, somehow they turn it around and we should be still giving more. To have the resentment get to that point, in my opinion, it has helped me to say, wow, I have really overdone so much, and really it's still not enough. And that helped me to finally say, who am I trying to please? And when I kind of pulled myself back and I said, right here, between me and what I feel I'm led to do, that's enough. Right there is complete. It was uncomfortable. But I want to leave you with this. We're going to have to choose our discomfort. Okay? We're going to have to choose our discomfort, because resentment is a discomfort. The first discomfort was I'm in resentment, and then I'm exploding, and then I'm in resentment. And finally, it was, now this is a little bit uncomfortable to actually just say, maybe I'm going to say no. Maybe I'm going to say, hey, what about you stepping in and us doing this as a team? Whatever I needed to do and whatever you need to do, you're going to figure it out. But I don't think we can figure it out as well if we don't just pivot toward that resentment and stop judging it as some sort of wrong feeling, and maybe take a look at whether or not it has to do with feeling like nobody is appreciating all that you do, and start appreciating it for yourself. I want you to bring it back to you and spirit, because you know what? Spirit sees, and spirit validates it. And spirit is with me, it's with you, it's with every one of us. So we're not meant to like do more than our share. We're meant to step in as contributors. And if others aren't, we can only still step in and contribute our portion. And if we can do that, then we're going to change the resentment factor, because we're no longer saying, well, maybe if I just keep doing, then, you'll finally validate me. We're going to just say, this is enough. We know that we're at peace with this. And I always just want to encourage you that really and truly, this is all a practice of finding that inner dialogue and letting that be enough, and then allowing it to inform how you step forward so that you can balance what you give, but also how you return to your center. Because when we give from our center, that is the most effective. So I hope that you will be kind and gentle with yourself, and I know you will find your own little pivots toward balance, and you will feel more settled, and the resentment will change because you're putting new things in place. So I wish you all the best today. Take care, be well, and I'll talk to you again soon.